Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. Today is the 27th of June 2023, and we're going to be exploring various different messages in this video. I have tried to record it about 7 or 8 times. I've only got about 5 minutes into it. I'm finding it difficult to summarize for you at the start what this video is about, which I know as a viewer might be frustrating because we like to have things in neat boxes, myself included. This video is about this, and we're going to be looking at blah, blah, blah. But we're looking at the element of water, and water can go in many different directions. And so you're just going to have to bear with me, and let's just see where this leads. Why am I focusing on the element of water? Well, water represents our emotions. Water represents our subconscious. If we go back to the start of the year, do you remember we were talking about the numerology? I can't even say it. The numerology of 2023 is a 7 year, which is about the element of water. And I was talking about Neptune, the god of water, the god of the seas. And now, my friends, we have just entered Cancer season, and we have a month to delve, whether we like it or not, into the depths of our being, into the depths of our world, to hopefully come up victorious and to absolutely stay like this, to be childlike in terms of our wonder and sense of expectation of what we might discover about ourselves, each other, the collective. But it is going to be quite a ride. So it's like a double whammy, watery time. I'm going to be bringing in the energy of Metatron, obviously. I also feel the presence of Mother Mary here. If you remember the sprays that we sell, the Mother Mary spray is called the Safe Harbour or Harbour Light. She's about being the safe harbour. So if it all gets a bit too choppy and a bit too emotional or just a bit too intense, remember you can come back to Mary, who always keeps the light on for respite. Okay, so remember her energy this month. Metatron will steer us through it. In terms of your own life as well, think about the waters of your body and what state they are in at the moment. You see, the thing is, I've always felt this. If we could actually see the inner state of our body, the physical state, for example, maybe of our heart or our stomach or our liver, when we're downing, the wine or the sugar or the fat, whatever it is we're ingesting, which we ultimately know isn't good for us, but we sort of tuck it down there. We just swallow it because it tastes good and it gives us a bit of a rush. But then your poor liver or your stomach is actually, the intestines are what is having to deal with it. If you're actually able to see inside your body, you wouldn't be putting all that sugar and fat down there. You'd want to look after the organs better, but out of sight, out of mind. It's a bit like that with the waters of the body. Have they got toxicity within them? Are they too acidic? All that type of stuff. So Metatron said to me today, it's almost though, again, if you could see the waters that are in your body, outside of your body, you would again take more attention to them. So imagine that you're sitting inside a bathtub of water, but it's actually your waters. Would it be clean? Would it be a bit grubby, a bit, toxic, a bit dehydrated as well? Maybe there wouldn't be much water in the bath. Many people don't drink enough water. And there is a great book. I will just give a shout out to this book. Many of you will know it. But there's a book by F. Batman Galadi. I've completely butchered his name. Apologies. I'm not even going to try and say that. But the point is, this is the book. It's called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. It says you're not sick, you're thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medication. The point is, he brings forward a thesis that many of the diseases within the body are due to a chronic lack of water, a chronic state of dehydration for decades. So I think he talks about things such as mental conditions as well. I don't know whether it's Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or things like that, but from memory, I seem to remember. Yeah, it's just an interesting theory. I'm not saying it's complete fact. You make up your own mind on it, but it's a good book. I felt like I needed to bring that into the equation. So, yeah. So we're looking at the waters of the world. We're looking at your waters. We're in Cancer season. It's unavoidable. Also have the energy of Dr. Masaru Emoto, who wants to say something about the waters of our world and what they are trying to teach, because I don't know about you, but it feels as though every time I open up the papers, there's another story linked into water. Obviously, last week we were reading on the Titan sub. It brought back memories of the Titanic. Also the week before, I think it was, sadly, there had been all of the migrants that were trying to, that were drowned basically off the coast of Greece. That brings a whole other aspect in. In the UK today, we have the inquest into the death of Nicola Bulley. It was just one of these cases that I didn't read on, and I'm not going to read on. But the point is, it's all bringing up the element of water because, you know, did she drown? Did she not? Talk about rivers and currents and depths of water and weirs. You know, it's all the language of water, as well as her emotional state or not. You know, as I say, I don't really want to get into all of that, but again, another water story. Loch Ness, I channeled the Loch Ness monster, although I don't want to call her a monster, in the last video. And Nessie was really well received by you and me. I really took her into my heart. And I think one of the things that came through from that channeling, and yeah, I will channel her again, is that she was teaching us basically about the different energies of water. And that in her loch, but her loch represents many other lakes and rivers and oceans in our world. But in her loch, there is water that is welcoming, she's saying, and there's water which is more threatening. And this isn't just to do with its depth, okay? It's to do with the actual energy of the water. That water can hold places which are safe to swim in, again, over and above, for example, tides and conditions of the wind, and which also have to be taken into account. But, you know, there are safe places to swim energetically just as much, and that's her teaching, as there are places to not swim. You know, I mentioned my own hometown and the fact I was picking up, there's a particular part of the beach near the pier where I would not swim this summer. It's as simple as that. It's where everyone goes as well. All the day trippers just go there. There's already been some deaths. There are these sexual assaults taking place in the sea. I've never heard of this before in my town. It's happened more than once. It's just an illustration. There's animals behaving unusually in the sea, the orcas, all of this. So we've really got to look at this, and I really want to dive down into it, okay? So I'm going to use some decks, pull some cards, but before I do any of that, we're going to do something I haven't done for a while. We're going to play Snakes and Ladders. It's actually called Snakes and Arrows in this particular depiction. I'm always asked, where do I get this? Where did I get this from? And I think I got it from Amazon, to be honest, but I really can't remember. It was a while back now. It's from this book. It's called The Yoga of Snakes and Arrows. I will put it in the link below so you can check it out yourself. And it comes with this in the back, okay? So this basically has, I realise there's a bit of reflection you might not be able to see, but on here we've got snakes and we have got arrows. And if there are 72 different squares that we can land on, some of them link into different planes of existence. Some of them link into negative qualities that a human being can have, lessons, and sometimes it's also a gift. So if it's a gift, you know, you can shoot right up towards the top. So I can't remember where we were last time I did this, and to be honest, let's just start afresh anyway. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you got Julie Andrews, right. We're going to start at number 1. It's called Genesis. What else is called Genesis? I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm picking up an energy of, it's either a boat, it's a spaceship, it's a plane. It feels as though it's a structural thing that is being either developed at the moment or is already out there. It could even be a satellite or something like that. When I say it's a thing, that sounds stupid, but it's a structure. It's a structural thing. I don't know what it is I'm picking up, but I'm hearing Genesis. And I hope I'm not picking up what I think I'm now going into, which is the story of Genesis in the Bible is linked into, that's my daughter's door, God created man and all the rest of it. I hope this isn't linked into AI, Genesis linked into AI, that we've created something that's going to become something. Cancel, clear, delete that. I mean, obviously it's going to become something, but I'm just picking up some sort of mechanical machinery thing. As I say, it could just be a space rocket. Anyway, let's start back to the game. Remember, it's all a game. At the end of the day, your soul views this life as a game. It takes it seriously, but it is a game. It's a game that you came here to learn, to enjoy, believe it or not, to be the best you can be. And it gives you all of the pieces that you need to play the game in this lifetime. Let's roll the dice and let's see what we've got. Okay. 3. Right, well, we haven't got very far. 3 is anger. Anger. How interesting. Because I'm hearing suppressed anger. Suppressed anger, my friends, is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. Not just in the ways that we think it is, in terms of the guy with a gun or a knife. That's obviously dangerous as well. Suppressed anger, it's like I'm going to do something brutal, I'm going to do something violent, I'm going to flip. We're seeing a lot of that in our world. Remember, I'm reading for the collective here, but equally I want you to own your anger. And usually when I say that, there's always a few people get very triggered. And it's like, I'm not angry. It's almost like, I'm not angry. Well, actually, to a degree, a lot of us have suppressed anger. Now, let's think about what that actually is. And let's look at what it can cause. I'm not saying that these things are always caused by it, but they absolutely can be contributory factors. Disease, illness, depression can often be linked into a suppression of an emotion, often anger, that you haven't been able to find an outlet for. I'm still angry with the parent that did XYZ to me. I'm still angry with the partner who treats me like this. I'm still angry with the establishment that didn't recognize me. I'm still angry with the universe for not giving me what I need. I'm still angry for the injustices in our world. That can be holy anger, okay? But again, we can have holy anger, but we have to channel anger. This is the whole point about it, in a constructive way. In a constructive way. Not in a way that harms anybody else. So when we see things in our world that rightfully anger us, if we just allow it to seep into our very bones and our cells, and we become completely and utterly demoralized, incapacitated, unable to see any beauty out there because all we can see is the injustices and the terrible things in our world which are there, but we're not taking active steps ourselves to try to redress the balance in terms of bringing the vibration up in our world so that a lot of the lower energies can't keep populating and populating and populating. It's all about taking small steps, either at an individual level, well, it's always about an individual level, but what can we do to help ourselves? What can we do to help the world? We can't take on the world's problems. We're not meant to, but we can do our little bit. You know, and coming back to the element of water, I guarantee on a very hot weekend where I live, you get the day trippers coming in. The beach is an absolute mess when they leave. The litter, it's just, there's so little respect for the seas and the waters and the beach and all of that. What can you do? You can take your litter home with you. You know, it's little things like that. We think they don't matter. They really do. They also help us to feel as though we're doing something for the environment, if that's the thing that you get angry about. But it can be about all sorts of things. If your sense of anger is directed at the mistreatment of children in this world, rightfully so, there's all sorts of mistreatment of children. What can we do to bring joy to children? Can we donate to a charity? Can we spend a little bit more time and give completely focused attention on the children that we know? There might be a kid in your street, or, you know, I'm just talking about basic stuff, you know? So also it's the energy of healing the child within ourselves as well. So we have anger. Anger's a dead end is what I'm hearing. It's just a dead end. And we have to find a constructive way to deal with it. Now, okay, thank you, Metron. You see, the other thing, when I was walking by the sea the other day, and I was thinking about what's been happening in my town recently with the waters, and I was like, what's going on? And what I heard, it goes back to what I taught in my last video. Do you remember I said that this planet wasn't created to be a dualistic planet? It was created to be a planet of unity. The blueprint of this planet, the blue planet, is one of unity. But yet it's not. So what's gone wrong? We have gone wrong. Humankind have made it into a planet of duality. It was never meant to be a planet of, it was never meant to be that. So if you take that now a step further, everything in our world reflects what we've done to it. It's become dualistic. Hopefully it will come back to what it was originally, unity, but it's become dualistic. The elements reflect that duality. The elements absolutely can reflect our anger, our despair, our sorrow, all of that. Ultimately, when this planet steps into unity, the elements will be behaving in a very different way. You won't get, for example, going back to Loch Ness and the loch, you won't get those two parts of the loch, one dark, one light. You'll just get a beautiful clear loch, in the same way you'll get a beautiful clear sea. But it will be because we've cleaned up the inner waters within ourselves, and so it's then reflected outward. So we have anger. Okay, I'm going to pull again, and let's see where else we can go. So we've acknowledged the anger that is out there. We know that. 7 leads us to 10, which is purification. Yeah, purification. Well, that's perfect, isn't it? Right, let me just show you. So we were on 3, anger. We've gone to 10, which is purification. And purification takes us, it's an arrow, it takes us all the way up to 23. 23 is the celestial plane. Interestingly, the depiction of the celestial plane here is the energy of fire. So it's as though when we own our anger and we acknowledge what we're angry about, whether it's past, whether it's present, whether we own it and then we allow ourselves to voice it, acknowledge it, try to channel it constructively, we then are purifying it and we help ourselves to ascend the celestial plane. Now, how do we channel anger constructively? It can be in many different ways. It's going to be different for different people. I think movement and exercise is paramount, though, in these times. To do whatever you can to keep moving. And again, that doesn't have to be that you go and run a marathon. It just means that you use the steps rather than the escalator or the lift, etc. It's that type of thing. You get yourself out there every day to have a walk, etc. That type of thing. But many other ways that we can channel our anger. It might be through art. It might be through music. And we'll just raise music, actually, because we've just had Glastonbury Festival. And I enjoyed it. And you know I did if you follow me on social media. But one of the acts that I particularly was surprised at, and I've been attacked for saying that I enjoyed it, and I'll come back to that in a moment, is the Foo Fighters were on, Dave Grohl. Now, in one of my other videos recently, I mentioned the film 666 that the Foo Fighters did before Taylor Hawkins died, and I said that I believe that had released evil entities, basically, that had helped to take Taylor down. I didn't point my fingers at anybody, but I do stand by what I said. And then I put this post up saying I really enjoyed the Foo Fighters' energy on stage. And somebody said, well, how can you say that when you've just said this about the film? Well, the point is I don't view people in terms of one moment in time. I view the whole individual. I can see past any one particular thing, just as we're meant to, as divine beings of light. We see the good in people as well as the things they've done that maybe weren't so good, etc. But back to the rock, if you call it that, Foo Fighters. It was interesting because when Dave Grohl came on the stage, I didn't think I was even going to enjoy the music, but I did actually. Well, for a few of them anyway. I didn't last the whole set because it's not really my type of music, but I appreciated what he was doing. But I was watching him and I was looking at his energy and I was just trying to suss his energy out a little bit. And then I got taken over just by the music and the beat of it and his energy. He was just so energetic. And it was obviously very cathartic. It was like a cathartic experience that he was going through, but he was also bringing other people through. Music, rock like that can do that. It literally is a case of, it's just like, I need to scream it out. I need to shout it out. It's like rage. It's just like a rage. Bright red in the face, sweating, all the rest of it. But I got it. I got what he was doing there. It was channeling. It was channeling a rage. It was channeling an anger. And there's a place for that. There's absolutely a place for that. And then afterwards, I would imagine he's completely spent after a performance like that. And I imagine a lot of the people that are watching who are really into it, and they were really into it, they were spent as well. It's like, okay, we've got that out of our system. So ultimately, at a rock concert, what you need to do is imagine like a violet portal above the crowd and it just takes it up. Yeah, just imagine this violet portal above the crowd, takes it up, it transmutes it. I think because it was on the heart chakra portal, Glastonbury, and the crowd was just so loving and high vibe, I think it just did lift up anyway, so it wasn't an issue. But it was interesting as well because when he started to sing and when the music originally started, Bella, my dog, did something she hasn't done for a while. She started to really growl at the TV. She was actually quite a bit away from it, but she was growling. If you've got a dog, you know what I'm about to say. Sometimes they growl in a way where they're actually seeing like a spirit in the room or something. And it was like a protective thing. So there was something that was being released, but equally then got transmuted. So music can be a way of releasing anger. Bang it out on the drums, okay? But just be conscious of what you're doing and how you're releasing it. You almost always should ask your anger to be scooped up and transmuted and taken away. Not just from you, but from your home, from your street. Don't dump it on your neighbours or, in your town. Get it sent out to a different plane altogether, okay? Right, let's do one more shake of the dice and then we're going to get some cards on this. So we've got anger, purification, up to the celestial plane. And now we've got 9. Right, we go 1, 2. Oh no, we go 1, 2. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, nice. We get to 32. 32 is the plane of balance. So that is a nice little journey that we're on. Anger to purification, to the celestial plane where it's all transmuted in the fire, up to the plane of balance. Brilliant. Okay. Right, that's enough then of snakes and ladders for today. I shall fold it up and we'll come back to that another time. I now want to pull some cards and see what's going on as well. So let's start with this deck, which is the Sea Melodies deck by Jessica Lee. All of the decks I'm using today are watery in nature. We have Wild. I think somebody's about to knock on my door. Oh no, they might have driven off. We'll soon know. Bella's going to go nuts. I think they're gone. Right, Wild. Wild. It says, believe in your otherworldly beauty, dance with the waves and drink in the sunshine. Yes, okay, so we'll take that message. But equally, I want to bring that back to the wild waves. The wild waves that July is going to be bringing in. Let's have one more to go with that, please. Wild. What goes with wild? What goes with wild? Meditate. Right, so, yeah. I just keep hearing we're in for a wild ride. So if you're not meditating, get doing it, okay? It just says make some quiet time in the still air. You see, I'm sure many of us are busy. I don't have hours every day to sit in meditation. I can absolutely assure you I'm not doing that. My meditation tends to be a walking meditation. I'll go for a walk. I'll have a bath. I will go to bed a little bit early, you know, and I'll just say my prayers or, you know, contemplate, reflect. That to me is meditation as well. It's about getting some space and time for you. And you're going to have to just try and claw it back somehow this month ahead, okay? Very important. So that's one of the key teachings or key pieces of guidance for this month ahead. Right, let's go to this deck now. Do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. Actually, I want to go to the charms. So I've got my charms. People always ask where you can get these. I mean, there are places on Etsy. I think I got these from Etsy. But also you can make your own. You know, just make your own. Do you remember in the old days, my grandma, she had a button box. How many of our grandmothers had button boxes? Oh my God, as a child, I just used to love it. I used to pour all the buttons out onto the carpet and all the different colours and textures, and I was fascinated by it. But anyway, this is a different type of thing really, but it's just giving me a nice memory there. Simpler days really as well, being content with a button box, you know, rather than now a lot of the kids, they just want the buttons, you know, in terms of the latest gadgets and things. I do want to say something to you on that. I'm going off on a tangent, but I just think it's a beautiful little tangent to go off on. The crystal kids, the crystalline kids. We hear a lot of stuff about children being needy and wanting more and more and more and all of this type of stuff. That often comes from the parents, by the way, not the child. Triggering, but I believe that's the case. One of my daughters in particular, the younger one, she's got a really old phone and she's on a contract, and I've said to her for a while, because I'm paying for it, I said, oh, don't you want the upgrade? You know, you were able to have it like 2 years ago. You've still got the old phone. And she's like, no, I don't want the upgrade. And I've suddenly sussed why it is. It's environmental. It's like she doesn't need a new gadget where it's going to just create more problems for the environment in terms of disposing of all these phones. How many of you, including myself, have got old phones in your drawer and they just sit there, and then one day they might be sent a tip or whatever? Mother Earth has to do something with all of this. So the kids have got this innate understanding, some of them anyway, the ones that are seeded with it, because to be honest, that's come from her, not me. I didn't. She's come to that conclusion herself. It's beautiful. Right, let's go to our charms. Let's just see what wants to come through. That probably sounds horrible on headphones. Apologies. I'm still going to keep doing it. Just like to rummage, really. Okay, let's see. You can't make this stuff up. Right, you might not be able to see that. That is a little crab. What season are we in? Cancer. We're in Cancer season. So what goes with the crab? Interesting. Money. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. It's a little bag of money, and we've also got the peace sign. So we've got the peace sign, money, and the crab. Right. What do I want to say about that? I mean, the obvious one is, it feels like I'm tapping into a duality here. The money represents the material world when it's out of balance. It's what I've just been saying about my daughter, isn't it? And she's actually a Cancerian as well, like me. So she's at peace with what she has, the old phone. She doesn't need a new one. The opposite side is about, I want to just keep selling you new versions and new models, and haven't you got the latest one and all of that. I know some of us need that. I mean, I've got the latest phone version because I vlog and I like the camera. So I'm not criticising you if you've got that. I'm just using it as an example. It's coming on the back of my example I gave. Money and peace. Which do you want? Money and peace. I also feel as though there's a third one here, which is war, the energy of war. War being about money. Ultimately, it is about money. It's about the trillions of pounds that is created in war. How much money is made for us being at peace? Very little. Just think about that for a moment. It's the truth. There's money in war. There's not much money in peace. Did John Lennon say that? Somebody famous said it. Cancer season is going to help us to understand that. Let me just pull one more. What is that? That is an elephant, I think. Yeah, it's an elephant. I know they're tiny. It's an elephant. Reminds me of Ganesh then, the remover of obstacles. It would be lovely to think we were going to be able to remove some obstacles to peace, wouldn't it? But, you know, maybe we're just being asked in Cancer season to, going back to the waters within ourselves, the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, that what you say, what you think, what your programming is, what your belief system is reflected in the waters inside you. If we're all just about acquiring more and more money, more and more wealth, more and more status symbols, then we become that. But if we're more at peace with a maybe simpler existence, the body, I just feel, goes, oh. I mean, how many of us are having a clear out at the moment? Lots of us. And I know that's been ongoing for a while, but it's all symptomatic of this thing, just wanting to be more at peace in our environment, wanting to be more at peace with ourselves. And it's very hard to be at peace when you've just got stuff everywhere. Okay, and what is stuff all about? Stuff is about, it's about money a lot of the time. I need it because it's fashionable. I need it because, why do you need it, really? So that's coming through with that. Okay, let's pull some cards from this deck now. I don't think I've used this on camera before. It's called the Water Temple Oracle by Susie Cherub. For the people watching, Archangel Metatron, what is the message, please? For the people watching, what is the message or what is the help available? I knew that was going to come out. Oh wow, it's come out twice. The Lourdes energy. Look at that. Lourdes Grotto, Sanctuary, I create an inner haven of peace. And Lourdes Baths, Renewal, I am refreshed with the light of love. So the Mother Mary energy, which I was talking about at the start. Have I got her spray to hand? Don't know where it's gone. Usually have them all to hand. It's probably because it's beside my bed, but anyway. Oh no, there it is. I've got another one. Hold on. So let's just have a look at the pictures for a start. So Lourdes, lots of people going to Lourdes for healing. You can also go there in meditation, of course. I've never been myself. I am feeling very called to France this summer, and indeed we are going to France. I don't quite know why, and I probably won't know why until I get there, but it feels as though I'm definitely being called there. And actually where we're staying, it's on a campsite because we're taking a camper van over. I will report how I get on with all of that. But where we're camping, it's effectively on an island. Not Mont Saint Michel, no, although that is one of my favourite places on earth. It's like it's a piece of island. I'm going to be surrounded by water, so I don't know. I'll bring some more messages through when I've got back from that. But the Lourdes Grotto, let's just see what we can pick up. I'm just going to use my Mother Mary spray. Look at her there. She's like catching the tears. Catching the tears. There's a lot of sorrow. You see, anger can also be linked into sorrow. It's unprocessed sorrow, unprocessed loss. Why did this have to happen? Why did I have to lose that thing, that person? All of that. What does the book say about Lourdes 35? It says, I am refreshed with the light of love. Immerse yourself in the loving essence of Our Lady. Come to the Lord's baths in meditation to wash your soul and feel whole and reborn. Oh, you know, Metatron was showing us earlier the analogy of if you could see the waters inside your body and you were sitting in the bath of them, would it be clean? Would it be dirty? Okay, this is the opposite of that, because most of us, I'm afraid, would be sitting in dirty bath water. This is imagining now that we're sitting in the Lord's baths. And of course, the waters there are pristine and clean and pure. So it says, during one of the apparitions of Mother Mary, the young and humble Bernadette was encouraged to drink and wash at the spring. This inspired the baths first built at the grotto in the late 1850s. The current baths were constructed in 1955. Faithful pilgrims travel from all over the world to visit the holy site and immerse themselves in the spring water. Dedicated volunteers, the custodians of this sacred water shrine, maintain the baths and help the pilgrims with their bathing rituals. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I mean, yes, great, and I'm sure it's beautiful and people have miraculous things happen there, but I'm straight away seeing the sea near where I live, which should be a place of beauty and refreshment and just happiness and pleasure and childhood innocence and buckets and spades and running in and out of the sea and having a great time. But people, the energy right now, it's very hard for any site to be completely protected and secure from some of the trickster energies that are out there. If you're going to Lourdes, enjoy it, but put it this way, I wouldn't want to go into any waters where there are lots and lots of people around me at the moment. So I don't know whether you could go in at a time which is earlier in the day or later in the day. I'm sorry to be, I feel like I'm being the party pooper here, but it's what I'm getting and I have to say it. I have said it in different ways over the years as well, because I live near I don't want to say exactly where it is, but I live near a place where lots of people go and walk over it. And I've known for a long, long time that people go to that piece of land and they take all their troubles there, and then the land, that piece of land, has to absorb it all. And I've always felt sorry for the land. It's like I try to give back to that land, and because people just take from it. So imagine getting into the waters of Lourdes, however lovely they are. You're basically getting into a bath of other people's released grief and trauma or illness. I just... Mother Mary's like, yeah, we're busy. I mean, it's... Okay, this might sound quite a sacrilegious thing to say to some, but I'm feeling I want to say even ascended masters sometimes need help. And I feel like she's asking for help. Because there's so many, the need is so great at the moment. The need is so great. Those of you that know the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, Messages from Water, you probably already are doing maybe some ceremonial work near the water where you live. Hear the seagull piping up. I know I need to go down to the waters near me and just do something. And that can be as simple as standing near it, saying a prayer, picking up a pebble on the beach and imbuing that pebble with peace and love and healing and purification and putting it into the water with that intention. It can absolutely just be as simple as that. You know, you don't have to get too complex. You can if you want, but you don't have to be. Healing is simple. It's intention that's important. But I feel as though these sacred water sites need purification as well. It's just because it's overwhelming, the amount of grief and illness. We're about to be engulfed with a wave of illness and grief. And yes, I understand what I've just said there. And I think some of us understand what that's all about. And that's a whole other video in itself. But it's also tied into the ascension path and the awakening path, which is always remember that everybody is always where they're meant to be. And look at that, you see I pulled that card as I said that. It says change. It says know when to move to a new shell, especially if yours no longer fits. There are souls on our planet now, there are people on our planet now who are choosing to pass over, even if they don't realise they are, because the shell no longer fits, the body no longer fits, they're moving to a different existence. There's no right or wrong either with regards to that. It's a soul choice. It happened before they were even born. But what it does mean is that our world, its filter systems are getting clogged up big time with all of this illness and grief that is there. It's also in the water systems of the world. Of course it is, I'm hearing. The drinking water, you know, the water that comes from your tap has ultimately, you know, been recycled a few times. We need to be purifying the waters we're drinking as well. And, you know, you do that simply by placing, for example, crystals into it, obviously not drinking the crystals, putting it in sunlight to purify it, or moonlight, getting a water purifier in your home. We do actually have one of those here. Bottled water, using sacred geometry to purify the waters, all of that. So let me just drink some water. We are the waters. Can you see now why that was the title that was given to me today? We are the waters. But yeah, I feel as though Mary's asking for help. And because this is just, the planetary need at the moment is overwhelming. Okay, let's pull a card from Dr. Masaru Emoto and the crystals. Soul, summer. So highlighting the summer season, this is what I'm reading on. Cancer season, moving into Leo. Summer season, the energy of the soul. Oh, okay, there's going to be quite a lot of souls that are passing over this summer. Into autumn. We need to have gratitude and affection for those in our life that might choose to pass over at this time. Let's just look at the water crystals. This is the crystal for soul. This is the crystal for summer. This is the crystal for autumn. This is the water crystal for affection and gratitude. Gratitude, going back to the energy of anger we were talking about at the start of this video, gratitude is one of the fastest ways to raise your vibration. Also, Metatron, anything else to say on souls passing over this summer? He's saying we will return to this. Okay. Feels as though it hasn't started yet. Well, it has started, but I don't know, it's weird. People pass every day at the end of the day. But at the beginning of a year, December into January is usually the time when a lot of people pass over. It's just the natural rhythm. But the rhythms are all out of sync at the moment, although maybe perfectly orchestrated. The summer months is going to be a lot that are passing over, okay? So we just need to, that's just like a heads up. So for us as light workers, let's do what we can. Let's not get overwhelmed with it all. Let's go back to the basic teaching. The teaching in this video is to look after your own waters within yourself. Okay, because that affects everything else anyway. I'd like to use the Bluebell Bridge spray for loss and grief. I mean, even myself, I'm fit and healthy, hopefully, touch wood. But I'm not going to bore you again with the story, but I couldn't believe it. I'm feeling really well at the moment and all the rest of it. But yesterday evening, this bloody tooth starts playing up again. And I thought, I can't believe it. It's always the same tooth. I've had all sorts of work on it. It shouldn't be an issue now. And hopefully it's just going to die down. But if it doesn't, obviously I'll go off to the dentist. But the point is, I know that this tooth is linked into the lungs. It's all to do with the meridians. Different teeth link into different parts of the body, different organs, the meridian lines. This is to do with the lungs. This is to do with grief. And I thought, oh God, I thought I'd dealt with all that. I thought I'd healed that as much as I could. But that's the point, as much as I could. It's this little stubborn bit at the end. So we need to be working on the loss or the grief that we have. And only you know what that's about. It might be existential grief in terms of being on this planet, or it could be something very, very specific. It's probably both, actually. Let's use the Bluebell Bridge spray then for loss and grief, because this also helps us to come to terms with our own loss and grief. In fact, I was watching somebody the other day. It's a van life guy, and he was talking about being in graveyards, you know, in all seriousness, and how actually spending time in graveyards can be an awakening, because it reminds you of your own mortality, and it reminds you of how short your time is here, and how, he didn't say this, but I'm saying it now, how pointless it is to get stuck on the road bumps and in the anger. And water ultimately is trying to, this season, it's trying to flush things through. It's trying to release what has been built up within ourselves to allow in the new energy. But to allow the new energy in, you've just got to have that flush through. So yeah, those going through loss and grief, Bluebell Bridge. In terms of chakras, the one that I'm picking up today is the Alta Major, which is right at the back of the neck, that little small area there. Teal, Alta Major. I think it's sometimes called, the altar major is sometimes called the mouth of God, actually, because it's one of the portals through which spirit can come in. But I'm always shown the same thing. I'm shown a plug hole with all the hair, and especially you've got long hair like mine, all the hair down the plug hole and the scum. I'm not saying my plug holes look like this, but the point is, the scum and the soap and all the hair, and it's all congealed, and you pull it out, it's like, oh my God. That's what happens here, in all seriousness, at the altar major. But it's energetic, of course. It's energetic gunk. You need to keep this area clean. So let's spray the altar major, because it helps to clean the whole head area, our senses, how we taste the world, how we speak into the world, how we see the world, how we hear the world. But it's a portal through which it's just keeping the energies clear at the altar major. It's really important at this time. I can see clearly now. I always keep hearing that song. I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. That one, yeah. It's going to be a bright, 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 bright sunny day. Yeah, it's a good cleanser, that one. It just flushes things through. Okay, it's getting towards lunchtime. I have no idea how long this video is. I'm just going to pull a couple of final cards, and let's go back to this water temple deck. Where's it gone? Yeah, there it is. So we've had Mother Mary coming to assist, or is coming to assist us this month, highlighting the overwhelming need in our world. For those of you that have got enough in your cup, not those who are drained, then, let's help her. We have Metatron, obviously, and we have Dr. Masaru Emoto. Okay, the last card we've got is card number 21. It's St. Bridget's Well, and it's to do with compassion. I'll read you the message that goes with the card, but for now, if you just tune into that beautiful image, and we'll see what we can get. So we've got a little girl there dressed in lime green. She's got a little fox, baby fox beside her. She's got the rabbits. It's all going on, guys. It's all going on. Let's see what the message is for this card, 21. So Bridget is the triple goddess, exemplifying the divine feminine, maiden, mother and crone. She came up in my last reading, didn't she? I think she did. Elemental goddess of fire and water, also has a close association with the earth. She's the support. Oh, right. Okay, we're being taken to another holy well then. So for those of you in Ireland, located in Clare Island, St. Bridget's Well is one of the oldest wells reported to have transformative powers. 3,000 holy wells are scattered throughout Ireland, each with mythology, saints, divinities and healing properties. And from the Trinity Well, the Kildare flows out to the Irish Sea. Right, I just feel as though, I've been talking about the rivers, I've been talking about the seas, I've been talking about the lakes, the lochs, I've been talking about holy water sites such as Lourdes. St. Bridget is now taking us to the wells. They don't just have to be an island. They can also be in other places around our world, okay? One of my friends in Italy, the wells there, wells everywhere, to be perfectly honest. So make sure you are helping to bring high vibrations into the wells of our world as well. It strikes me that it could be a good idea to do a channeling with Dr. Masaru Emoto. His birthday, I think, is the day before mine, so I always remember it. I think he's the 22nd of July, isn't he? Let me just see. If so, if I have time before I go on holiday, what I will try and do is do that for you all. But equally, if you look at his website, he will have lots of information about what to do anyway. But and indeed, there are still people that work for the Masaru Emoto Foundation, and they put out a lot of information very regularly, so it doesn't have to be me that does it. But yeah, Dr. Masaru Emoto, 22nd of July, I thought he was, yeah. So we're coming into his season. So he's very insistent that we as light workers help to clear up the waters of our world, but also our own inner waters as well. So make sure you're drinking plenty, you're flushing it through, you're drinking enough, you're blessing the water as well that you drink. You bless the water. You know, you put good vibrations into it. You're looking after. I'm absolutely manic at the moment in terms of watering plants. In fact, my peace lily over here, I cannot believe how much water that takes every day, and it's still looking droopy. I mean, in a way, it's teaching me that the importance that it needs more than I think it does, in the same way that we need more than we think as well. Okay, did I mention this book? Hi, sorry, my camera keeps overheating. In fact, if anybody is a camera specialist, if you could email me at amandaellisinfo@gmail.com, that would be really helpful. I need a camera that doesn't overheat the whole time and that I can continuously shoot on. I'm using a Sony, what is this? It's a good camera. I've had it a couple of years, but I'm just getting beyond, it's just getting ridiculous. Anyway, thank you. If you can help, that'd be great. Last thing I want to say that I was shown by Masaru Emoto in the break was the reservoirs that have filled up. Is it in California, where it's a very famous reservoir that's usually empty, that's now full to the brim? Dr. Emoto is saying, A, appreciate it, but also now visualize it always full, because it's almost as though the consciousness, wherever this is that I'm tapping into, had become so used to seeing the empty reservoir that was the norm. Try to visualize and acknowledge that the new norm is that it's full, which also means that the sunshine state, wherever it is that I'm tuning into, is going to get more rain, and start to think that could be a good thing rather than it always being sunshine every day, that type of thing. So yeah, it's about imagining the rivers of our world full and flowing, clean and healthy. Also the wells, the seas. And I feel as though I've only scratched the surface in this video because we haven't even got to the animals really, but we're going to have a whole summer of watery stuff. So I'm sure I will come back to it another time. I'm going to leave it there for now though, because the video is long enough. Thank you very much and take great care of yourself. I appreciate all of your support. Go and drink a glass of water now, all right? And bless it before you do, with health, happiness, joy, and gratitude. Lots of love. See you next time. Bye-bye for now. Bye.